Hi, everybody. Welcome into the broadcast. It's Region Weather Meteorologist Matt Wintz with you on this Sunday evening. Hope you guys are doing A-OK. Not a bad day today. It was nice to see the sunshine at least, albeit it is on the colder side once again after some really nice weather. My goodness, did it get any better than the way we ended last week? Just downright gorgeous outside. All right, let's see who our early birds are. Well, before early birds, let's get to our sponsors, and then we'll get this show on the road. We've got a lot to talk about. So there's a giant pattern change coming our way. We've seen it for some time. It's been all over social media. And if you follow all these other weather pages, which I would recommend just following one or two, Facebook will show you the rest. But anyway, regardless, it's going to feel like winter around here. And this shot of cold air that's coming in sometime around Thanksgiving is going to be timed up, unfortunately, with big travel days across the country. And if you remember last week when we were looking at some of the modeling, it looked like everything was going to kind of hold off until after Thanksgiving. Well, now it's a little bit before, and that's why we don't really trust models when they're 3 weeks out. 2 weeks out, we get a pretty good idea of what's going to happen. And then a week out is when we start to really fine tune those details. So we can talk about what's going to happen. We have a pretty good idea how it's going to unfold. The details are still kind of uncertain, but boy, man, I'll show you some of the numbers, this air coming in. And we'll talk about some rain that's going to get us started here this week as well. And we'll go from there. All right. Does that sound like a plan, everybody? Let's do it. Let's thank our sponsors first while we let a couple more people join. Let's start at the top. Earl's Heating and Air Conditioning. Boy, we went from the air conditioning part to the heating part real fast, didn't we? EarlsHeating.com, place to go for all your AC, furnace, and HVAC needs. We focus on outdoor atmosphere. They focus on indoor. They can do things like if you guys need a new furnace, if you just need a tune-up, they'll do that. If you need a whole new system, they've got great specials on it right now. And the technology is really advanced, so you can do everything from your phone. They'll get it all hooked up for you. And in addition to that, I'm a big fan of indoor humidity. Like I've got hydrometers all over the house. I want the humidity level to be 50% or around there. That way you don't get dry skin, you don't get sick as often. It's one of those things. And so what they will do, they have humidifiers that get thrown into the furnace system, so you don't have to keep track of any of that stuff. It does it for. It's kind of neat. Anyway, Earl's Heating and Air Conditioning, place to go. It's earlsheating.com. They've been local to Schererville since 1976. How about that? PublicServiceAdjusting.com is the place to go if you need a public service adjuster. What's that, you asked? If you have an insurance claim on your property, go to PublicServiceAdjusting.com first. It's all local, licensed, insured moms and dads that work there. They're amazing. What they do, they come out first. They'll document whatever the insurance claim is. They'll take pictures of it, write everything down, talk to you about it. They'll submit a package to your insurance company, and they'll make sure that you get top dollar back, because insurance companies, they go back and forth, all that stuff. PSA does that for you. You don't even have to worry about it. Insurance claim, let them come out. You don't worry about it. You get a check in the mail. They're awesome. 5-star reviews across the board. PublicServiceAdjusting.com is the place to go there. Romans Roofing, if you guys need a new roof, maybe you have a leak, or maybe you need new windows, they do that as well. They do siding, they do gutters, they do it all. Get your home locked in and ready to go for the winter season. Romans Roofing does it right. They're a lot of fun on Facebook too. Not that you look for that in a roofer, but it shows they actually have personalities, which is great. And they service all of Northwest Indiana, but they're local to Hobart. They come out for a free estimate. Just find out what it is that you want done, get a number on it, and go from there. RomansRoofing.net, or give them a call at 219-838-9111. Halcyon Weather Solutions provides the highest quality water treatment with exceptional service all across Northwest Indiana, from water softening to filtration to salt delivery and maintenance. They do it all. They've got all your water needs covered, so you don't have to worry about it. Call 866-97-WATER to schedule your free in-home water analysis today. Boy, you use water for everything. You might want to make sure that it's doing okay. Minogue.life, Michael Minogue says that this year there are a lot of changes coming up once the calendar flips to 2026, and you may be caught off guard by this because if you do nothing by January 1st, you'll return to having maybe Medicare Parts A and B with no prescription drug coverage. You don't want that. It's very important to understand all your different options and how a plan works before you select a new plan, like costs, copays, deductibles, network of doctors, and prescription coverage. And Michael Minogue knows his stuff around the world of Medicare, Medicaid. He knows all the rules, all that stuff. And there are no two plans that are like snowflakes. You have your own plan, all right? You may not be getting the most out of it. Maybe you're not getting enough out of it. He'll help you figure that out. It'd feel really nice going into the new year knowing what your plan is and what you've got. His office is in Maryville. You can call him at 614-0498 to make an appointment, or email him at mike@minogue.life. That's the website to go there as well. Kate Cusack, your home loan girl, has a recipe for a perfect mortgage this holiday season. Stress-free, simple, and easy as pie. We all like pie. We all like good, easy mortgages as well. Contact her today about getting pre-approved for the dream home just in time for the holidays. She's also working in the refinancing industry as well. So if you'd like to refinance as rates come down, you can certainly do that. Kate's your girl. She does an amazing job. And you guys have 5-star reviews with her as well. TigerPlumbing.net. If you guys need a plumber, that's the place to go for your plumbing needs. Outdoor water spigots should be off, they remind me now. So make sure your water line going to your outdoor spigots for the garden and all that stuff. Make sure that water line is shut off and that you've closed and drained it on the outside. You should have a little cover up on it. That's one of the leading causes of burst pipes. And that's what Tiger Plumbing does. They tell us things to prevent them from coming out, which is weird. Normally plumbers want to tell you, hey, do this, and then they come out and they have all this business. No, they don't want to come out and deal with burst water pipes this winter. They want you to be safe, but they will deal with it if they have to. But they do amazing work. TigerPlumbing.net, the place to go there. FBI Buildings, if you need a new pole barn constructed, residential, commercial, they do both. They've done over 20,000 of them in the Midwest, and they do a great job. You should check out their Facebook page. They have a new structure they just did. I forget where it was in Indiana, but my goodness, these buildings that they're doing. So if you've got a new commercial business or a pole barn that you need renovated, they'll do that as well. FBIbuildings.com. TNT Tree Service, if you have a tree that's looking a little weird on your property, maybe the wind over the last couple storm systems making it lean a little bit further, get that thing taken care of. Call TNT Tree Service. When it comes to tree removal, experience matters. They are in Valparaiso. They're local, family-owned business. They're amazing. Give them a call at 219-300-6256 or visit them at tttreeservice.com. That's 3 T's. Finally, last but not least, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram over in Valparaiso. They have so many Jeeps ready to go for you, brand new, 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, they call it nowadays, kids nowadays. But anyway, that's going to be needed here as we look at the extended forecast. They're on US 30 there in Valparaiso. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. All right, let's say hi to our early birds. We've got a few more people that have joined, so we can get on with the show here in terms of this crazy weather pattern coming our way. We call winter, but it's going to be a shot of winter, let me tell you that. Ethan was our early bird. Ethan, you were first on board. I appreciate that. Trigger Fingers is good on that YouTube channel here today. I appreciate that. Don from Mayberry's with us. Hi, Don. Hi, Deb. Deb's with us. Mary's with us as always. Mary, I always appreciate you joining us. Thank you. Derek as well. Derek says, I see we got a pattern change coming around Thanksgiving. Yes, we do, Derek. We're going to talk about it. And yes, family's doing great. My wife and I just realized about 10 minutes ago that we had no dinner plans for the kids, and they're all saying they're hungry. So that was fun. She's a superwoman. Susan, hello. Thanks for joining us. Tom's in Munster tonight, as he usually is. I wouldn't be surprised if you were somewhere else, Tom. Wasn't an awful day. Great sunshine. Very good. You're right, Tom. It wasn't too bad. Just kind of chilly. Stephen, good evening to you. Paula, thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. Allie's with us. Hi, Allie. Georgia's with us as well. Tammy, hello. Lisa, hello. Kelly, good to have you with us tonight. Carol, Dragica's with us as well. Sharon, and we've got Donna saying, what a week. It's been an amazing week with all the snow, and then we had 65 and sunshine. Just crazy. James, hello to you. Thanks for joining us, buddy. We had the Northern Lights too, Carol. You're right. Yeah, and the snow melted, says Carol. She got to mow the lawn. Just what a crazy week. Terry's with us. Berta, hello. Maxwell's with us. Flora. JJ, sounds like I should have put up the outdoor Christmas lights yesterday. Yeah, probably. Gail's with us too. We can get going. All right. Yeah, so here's the deal. We've got some rough weather coming our way. There's going to be plenty of time between now and then to get the Christmas lights up. It might just have to be on a weekday, all right? But, you know, we've got Thanksgiving coming up shortly, too. So I'm telling you, things are just progressing really quickly here through the month of November. All right, couple systems coming at us right now. Look at this big swirl out west. So all the action's out west right now. We've enjoyed kind of a nice day today. We've got a northwest flow, though. You see this flow coming across the Great Lakes. That's cold air behind that front that really washed out all that warm air we had last week to end last week. Just unbelievable. But this is our new system, and this is kind of kickstarting the new pattern out towards the west. This system will evolve out in the plain states and bring us some rain. I'll show you that as we'll kind of start with that. You see, tomorrow we start dry. What we'll have tomorrow are increasing clouds. And whenever you see this, see how there's just this narrow band of it doesn't really look like rain, but it's some kind of moisture. Whenever you see that, it's moisture coming into the mid levels of the atmosphere. It's usually getting picked up on the modeling. And what it will transpire to tomorrow here locally is that we may start with some sunshine. Clouds are going to increase. And what that will do, it's going to bring this deck of clouds in, likely stratus, yuck, the gross ones. And the cloud heights are going to lower and lower. All right, we've got very dry air in place right now. So we're not going to have rain initially tomorrow afternoon or evening, but the clouds will start to get darker, right? And then once the sun goes down, it's going to really cloud up, and eventually we'll get some rain out of the system as you see that low kind of comes out in the plains. We should have some pretty good showers moving in from the west initially sometime tomorrow evening. I think most of this holds off till after the evening rush hour, but it'll be approaching during then. And then tomorrow evening into tomorrow night, we get a pretty good dose of rain around here. Pretty steady light to moderate rain as it looks right now. And then that system kind of circulates through with some additional showers on Tuesday. However, the system on Tuesday, you see how it kind of breaks up as the front will be well to the south. So this is kind of post-front here, all right? And in terms of winter precip with this, there is going to be a little bit of snow on the northern side of it. In Wisconsin, if you have travel plans up there, it might get a little slushy. And then you see this initial hit here coming into areas of Ohio and eastern Indiana. May have some little ice pellets with that initially, as we will have evaporational cooling taking place. Eventually, the atmosphere will warm as that warm air loft comes in, but could have a little icy mixture, and that might be a little problematic in spots tomorrow evening into Tuesday morning. And so what I say, again, I always tell you what it is, and I'll tell you how that's applicable to you. If you're a business travel or you're heading east on the toll road, maybe you're heading out towards Ohio, tomorrow night or early Tuesday morning may have some isolated slick spots. All of that should eventually turn over to rain, but could get a little slick in areas of western Ohio and eastern Indiana. Even up in southwest lower Michigan, we could have a little bit of icing taking place. Again, doesn't look to be too big of a deal. And the reason why is look at temperatures. They're not too bad where they'll be right at or just above freezing in most instances, okay? So that's system number one. Let's fast forward, all right? I'm going to go right at the guts of what we're going to talk about here tonight, and it's that giant pattern change. So I'm going to start by showing temperatures, all right, on the Euro, and all the major models picking up on this now. Euro's had it for quite some time. They kind of evolved this shot of cold air a little differently, but they all do to some degree. All right, so here's your highs tomorrow, and let's just do this. I'm just going to do max highs. That way we can kind of skip through it. So tomorrow, kind of chilly. We'll be in the 40s, right? It's kind of like it is right now outside. We'll be in the mid 40s. I've got to sit about 47 at the Porter County Airport. That's our official record-keeping spot. And then kind of what happens on Tuesday. Remember that low's coming by? So it's going to take cool air to our north, and as the low's coming by, it's going to kind of pull that cool air in a little bit more. So we may be a couple degrees cooler on Tuesday. We'll have more clouds around as well. So I've got us at 46 for a high on Tuesday, and it will be a little bit cooler as we head off towards the north. And then here's Wednesday, still hanging out in the 40s. Is there anything worse than 40s? I mean, zeros aren't too pleasant. If it's going to be, I've always had this opinion, and tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe some of you share this with me. Maybe you don't. 40s, just, it's like in between. It's not comfortable outside. You have to wear winter gear, especially if it's windy. And it's like, it's too warm to snow, usually, but it's like nasty rain if it does come in. So like 40s is kind of like this in-between stage. I'm not a big fan of 40s. I think they're the worst temperature. I think 60s and 70s are the best. I think most people agree with that. But if it's going to be cold, just cold enough to snow, let's just do it. Let's be in the 30s. Anyway, we've got 3 days of 40s. Yuck. And then later on this week, this is kind of the signal of this pattern change. We'll have a big trough out towards the western U.S. It'll start to push a lot of warm air east of the Mississippi. And remember, we're now a week out looking at this. This is Thursday night. This is a week from Thanksgiving. Okay, this is this coming Thursday. We're starting to warm up. 50s in the forecast, all right? Warmer air still around the eastern half of the country as we've got a lot of action out towards our west on Friday. Friday, we're going to be really close. I've got us at 49. That's the reading for Gary. But we could be easily in the 50s and near 60, depending on where this front ends up, all right? But I have a hunch because this time of year it usually settles south of us. So, again, we're talking temps. We're not talking precip yet. We'll do precip in a second. That front heads by, perhaps a brief warm-up next Saturday before some colder air spills in, 40s. And then here's the next push out ahead of some real cold air. This is next Monday, 40s. And then here comes that push of warm. This is next Tuesday, 50 perhaps. And then cold front swings by sometime Wednesday into early Thursday. All right, this is a big travel day. It'll be real warm. If grandma's house is down in Tennessee, should be nice and warm. Look at the cold air starting to build to our north, but watch this. Cold air really settles in. This is Thanksgiving. This tells you we've got some kind of big front going where we go from 70 to 39 in a matter of miles in areas of Missouri. We're on the cold side, so we'll be in the 30s on Thanksgiving as it looks right now. And then, it doesn't get any warmer. This is Friday, 30s. Look at all this cold air in the plains. Look at this. This is Saturday, 20s for highs. This is Sunday, 20s for highs. Look at all this cold air. Atlanta, 42. Cold air all the way down to the Gulf Coast. They don't handle that well. And then it gets even colder from there with perhaps some teens into low 20s on Monday. All right, so we know we've got a system coming our way. Look at temperatures. This is the Euro. These are deterministic numbers, all right? So these fluctuate a little bit over time, okay? Again, some of the ensemble numbers not picking up on quite as cold. The deterministic, though, is for lack of a better term, the model that has the most, I don't know. I like the deterministic models for some of the long-range stuff, especially the Euro, because it does pick up on some of these trends that are coming our way. But for lack of a better term, it could change a little bit towards the end. But this is what it's spitting out today. 40s this week. Here's your 50s as we get into the weekend. And then we get colder behind that. Here's your Thanksgiving, 38. And then here's that shot coming in next week. These are your highs and these are your lows. Shot of Arctic air, all right, to ring in the month of December on that Monday. So let's talk storm systems, okay? Here's our system out west. This is now, all right? Here's that little rain that gets spit out as this low heads east throughout the beginning half of our week. And then we quiet down a little bit. New system comes in. Look at all these systems lining up out towards our west. This is an extremely active pattern coming our way. We've even got one off towards the north that's carrying the cold air. So this is later this week where we have rain coming in Thursday into Friday. It's this system coming in this weekend looks to be a rainy wind maker. We mentioned that last week in terms of kind of our look ahead forecast. This is a rainy wind maker coming in later on this week. So if you've got weekend plans, well, the beginning of it at least looks wet. That's Friday into Saturday. Low pressure goes by, and then the new low starts to develop out west. This is the bigger one, all right? And here it comes. There it is. Here comes the cold air. This is Wednesday, Travel Wednesday. All right, not a whole lot going on yet, except for some really cold snow and likely some blowing snow out towards the west. And then here we go. Here's Thanksgiving. System gets going. All right, low pressure down to the south, lots of moisture. Remember that temperature difference? The Euro, as of right now, again, it's early, has us right on the line between warm and cold, but it has a really good snow developing around here Thanksgiving evening. So as you're settling in, as the tryptophan's kicking in Thursday night, this would be a very quick accumulating snow with this big storm system across Indiana, Michigan, and Illinois, all the way back down towards northern Texas and Colorado, all right? This would be a decent storm system Thursday into Friday. Then the low gets going, and these tend to be some of our bigger snows here in Indiana with systems like this. All right, the low's still going to change, the evolution's still going to change, so I don't want to get too much into the details, but I want to show you what's possible with this cold air coming in. This would be a huge storm system coming in here Friday into Saturday after Thanksgiving. All right, this would be probably close to blizzard conditions, some very heavy snow wherever that sweet spot goes across the state of Indiana. And then once that heads by, it is bone-chilling cold after that. We would be locked into the cold, and then another system would likely come out and take a track like this, which would bring us perhaps more accumulating snow into the first couple of days of December, all right, with some other kind of storm system. That's getting too into the details. I want to be very careful of that. Anyone that doesn't listen to me and doesn't know how to interpret 2-week out data, all right, that doesn't mean that's truth. That's just what the models are showing right now. But that pattern recognition is there where we have cold air diving in, all right, we're pretty locked in on that. That's pretty much a guarantee in the forecast, okay? Where the storms are at the time, that's the thing that kind of wavers a little bit. Because it matters how much that cold air dives in, it matters how deep these lows are, how strong these highs are. There's a lot of variables. But as of right now, that's what we're going to keep our eye on is that Thanksgiving system, especially the days after, especially that travel weekend where you have Saturday, Sunday heading back home to work on Monday, December 1st, okay? So I want to show you a couple other versions of this, and then we'll get to your questions. I'll show you how much snow they're showing because, I mean, I just like to look at it. Doesn't mean it's true. Here's the GFS, has the system earlier this week. It evolves this system later this week a little bit differently. It has. I don't have a ton of trust in the GFS, but we look at it for model comparison. it doesn't bring a lot of wind and rain in here later this week versus the Euro does. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty rainy around here Thursday into Friday. All right, here comes that low. Here's how it evolves. Cold air coming into the country. This is Travel Wednesday. Here's Thanksgiving right here. All right, and see how it develops that low a little bit quicker. It has a snowstorm just off towards our west. Meanwhile, we are rain changing over to really cold air. We would have snow and blowing snow, but not nearly as much Friday into Saturday, but the cold air's there. And then see how that cold air's still there? We get another system in here with some kind of snow in the northern end of it after that, probably some other snowmaker here, okay? So that's the GFS. Let me show you the Canadian model real quick just for fun. This one's a little bit closer to the Euro. You can see it brings the rain and wind in here later this week. Big high pressure comes in, and then it develops. Oh, it doesn't go that far. Oh, it doesn't go that far. It develops the same low in here, but it has rain at the onset that changes over to a heavier snow towards the end. Okay, so there's that. All right, let's zoom in real quick. Let's just look at what's possible with some of these totals. Okay, remember, not a lot on the Canadian, so let's go here. Not a lot. This is through Wednesday, November 26th. All right, let's go GFS. This goes a little bit further than that. There you go. So it has not a lot on us. It has bigger totals, 3 to 6 off towards the north. The Euro, which is what I lean on more than anything. Let's go through time here. Here we go. We'll take you through. There you go. It's got a pretty good strip of snow coming right through the heart of northwest Indiana, going up into Canada, and it goes all the way down towards Texas, as you saw. And it's got anywhere from 6 to 12 inches right now, upwards of a foot, foot and a half in areas of Michigan and eastern Indiana. Okay? This is not truth. This is what you will see on social media over the next week or so, all right? Depending on how these models go, you'll see a lot of these tweeted out. There's no evidence that this is going to happen yet, okay? Just know that, all right? And no one's going to be able to figure this out till about a week out. We should have a pretty good idea of what some of these totals could be doing in terms of the path of the slow. But the Euro's been picking up on this for some time, and the Euro's usually onto it. So that's what we're looking at, all right? And it's going to get cold around here, as I showed you. In terms of those temperatures, yeah, they're going down. I mean, a lot of 30s, as you'd expect, to end the month into the beginning of December, but then we get that shot of Arctic air, and it still is looking like a cold, snowy winter around here. Doesn't mean we're not going to have rain and warm-ups, but we're going to head below average for some time as it looks right now. Okay, so there's that. All right, let's get to your comments. If you guys have anything you want to throw in the chat, feel free to throw it in there. I'll answer your questions. If you have travel plans, we'll do that. If not, we'll get you on your way here on this Sunday evening. Guys, regionweather.com. Don't forget, you can sign up for daily emails on there. I type them up in the morning, probably before you're up, maybe not. But you know, I do the morning show, so I've got a little time. Type them up. I send them out. So there's that. So you get daily update in your inbox just once a day, typed up by me. It usually says good morning, which is nice. I'm not a bot. It's not AI. Anyway, regionweather.com. You can sign up for daily emails there. Also, we're on the radio side of things, XRock 103.9, Indiana 105.5, and Z107.1 FM. You can catch our forecast every day, all day long. All right, so there's that. Okay, Tom says he mowed the grass today. Guessing I'm done for the year. Yes, Tom, you're going to be done for the year. So there's that. Let's see. This suspected snow is for the night of Thanksgiving. Yeah, Allison, right now it looks like that sometime right around Thanksgiving is when this cold air is going to hit. All right, and so that would bring this storm system in here. It'd be Wednesday into Thursday to get going. All right, so here's Wednesday. Here's Thursday. It's over us. The cold air's coming in, and then there's like a bigger hit, says the Euro, Friday into Saturday. Okay, but the GFS has it here 2 days earlier. It has it here on Thanksgiving, starting on Wednesday, moving in, and then the GEM has it a little bit later again. So this is what we'll be watching, all right? And this is what updates I'm going to be giving you is what's the timing look like for this, and where's the snow, how much is it going to be, all that stuff, okay? So we'll talk all about that. Lori, it is, yeah, the Euro's picking up on, all the models are picking up on cold air, like real cold air punching into the country sometime right around Thanksgiving. Does it come in a day before? Does it come in a day after? That's still up in the air, but there's going to be cold air. That's almost a lock in the forecast, okay? We can almost guarantee that we're going to get a shot of Arctic cold then. However, the storm systems themselves are harder to predict 2 days out or 2 weeks out, so we need some time on that. But the Euro is spinning up a real doozy around here to end our Thanksgiving weekend, so there's that. Yeah, that's true, Maxwell. Yeah, there's going to be a little instability with that low coming in. It just depends on how much energy is left with that, for sure. But these last couple lows, we've had some lightning with them, not just locally here, but all over the Great Lakes. There's been some good lightning with it. So there's that. Tanya says driving to Indy on Friday afternoon is supposed to be bad. Tanya, it looks windy and rainy as of right now, coming up this Friday. So here's the system that we're watching this Friday. It looks like there's a lot of rain with it, and there's going to be wind with it as well. So your drive to Indy would be pretty rainy. But we've got models like the GFS that have not as much rain. They have it down towards Indy, and then the Canadian model has rain down towards Indy as well. So we're pretty locked in on the rain. But just how far north it is, how rainy your entire trip is, and how windy it is, that's still kind of up in the air as of right now. Okay. But you'll definitely have some rain around then. Laura, you're welcome for sure. Berta says snow then on Sunday after Thanksgiving for travel. Berta, it looks like it. It's definitely going to be cold then. All right. That travel day is going to be cold. And if we throw some kind of system in here, which is certainly possible, a system would be moving in at that time, it would be on the colder side of things. So still too early to tell exactly what's going to happen that day. Okay. But we know pattern recognition wise, it's going to get cold around here, and there's going to be some kind of couple snowy systems around. I don't want to say snowstorms, but some snowy systems around that could be snowstorms. But if it travels north of here 50 miles, we would be in the rain and be heavy snow in Wisconsin. So just stay tuned to the forecast. I want you to make sure that you're staying tuned to it. Okay. 25th, yeah. So Flora needs to pick up granddaughter at Ball State on the 25th. Yeah, we're not quite there in the modeling yet, but Flora, it certainly is possible. Um, in terms of the gem that I was looking at, we're there in terms of the euro. Yeah, I mean we'll see. That's what it looks like right now on the 25th. Cross your fingers. Kelly Joe, you're welcome. Let's see. Wednesday night rain too. Georgia, some leftover rain. Wednesday night doesn't look to be as rainy. So here's your Wednesday night right there. All right. Some leftover, probably drizzle, maybe some light raindrops. That's from the system that kind of falls apart. This one right here that goes by, there'd be some lingering moisture. I don't think it'd be too big of a deal. May have a little fog as well with that. Just some lingering moisture. Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, Maxwell, it is. It's running into that high out towards the east, and so the whole thing, the whole high pressure is like, stop, and it like zaps the moisture from it. I mean, you can see it right here. The system's doing great, and then it's like nothing. And who knows? Maybe that'll happen with the Thanksgiving storm. One can only hope, right? Let's see. Tanya says, "Are we getting snow around Thanksgiving? Drive back from Indy on Friday." Yeah, it's certainly possible. Friday's going to be a tough day as of right now, Tanya, because we would have sometime around Friday. We'd either have the cold air moving in, or it would already be here. So it would be wintry travel around here. So again, too soon to talk details on that, but still, Friday could be tricky. That Thanksgiving travel, especially after Thanksgiving, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday after the Thanksgiving holiday, those are days you want to pay attention to the weather. We'll continue to update you for sure. JJ says, is the rain from Friday going to linger into Saturday? You're heading to the Notre Dame game. Very nice. So Friday's rain does look to linger into Saturday. The euro is the only one picking up on that, though. The other ones keep that rain south. So this is the euro. Here's your Friday rain. Here's your Saturday rain, okay, where we would have some lingering showers around South Bend, okay? So that's one model, though. I'll show you the others. Here's GFS. Remember, it keeps it south. It doesn't have quite as dynamic of a system. And then the Canadian model doesn't have much at all, all right? So stay tuned to that one. Another change in the models, but again, that's what we expect. Once we're 6 days out or so, there's going to be a little discrepancy in the models. We know there'll be rain around, so there's that. Tyler, it really does seem like it's going to be an old school winter. It does, and boy, to end this month and to get into December, it looks real active. I mean, it's just storm after storm after storm, and they're all going different places, so it's going to be a lot of fun around here as well. Maxwell, I thought about you the other day about these early sunsets. Yeah, I was preparing a sunset graphic for the TV news, and I was like, oh, we're almost there, because that first week, it's really what is it, the 7th into like the 10th, somewhere in there. Those are our earliest sunsets of the year, and then they start to get later, and it always confuses everyone. And Maxwell, you're in charge of explaining it to everyone, because you always bring it up every year. And then everyone gets confused. They're like, well, I thought the shortest day of the year was the winter solstice. It still is. The sunsets start to get later in the nighttime. Once we get to like December, what is it, like 16th or 15th? I mean, they probably start with the second a day once we get to the 10th. but then the sunrises keep getting earlier and earlier in the morning to like January 2nd or 3rd or something like that. Anyway, it's all off. It's not symmetrical in terms of our sunrise sunset time. I don't want to get into it. All right, I got to go to bed. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Obviously, we'll be talking a lot here over the next couple of weeks, so I hope that's okay with you. All right, you guys have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.